Me personally, very pleased, obviously privilege and honor. I've always said that to coach here, so a little bit of security for the family, but this business, it's about results, so that's the way I look at it. We're getting ready for this year. It doesn't kick in until next year, so I haven't really thought that far ahead, to be honest with you.
Does it free you up in some ways and coach differently? Or
I don't think it will, to be honest. I think we're, I think I've always tried to look at the long term and in season and but deal with the short term. I mean, and we balance that with Donnie, how we look at different players, how much patience we're gonna have or not. So no, I don't think so. Again, that's years down the road, and I hope you're still here to be able to do it. You know, that's kind of what when you focus on now, that allows you to do that down the road. So.
Does it help you in dealing with players then, knowing that you're?
I think that might help a little bit, that there's some level of street cred, for lack of a better term, that that you're going to be here. So I don't think we have that in our room. I really don't. I think we have a good respect both ways. So but only they can answer that.
Butch, I know that off-ice training has completely changed since you played, but even since you've been coaching, how has it really changed? Millsy was just explaining in his short time here, it's changed a lot.
Well, I mean, to go way back, guys came to get in shape, obviously, many years ago. So training camp was 6 weeks, I think. That's been negotiated down, probably for the better. It's much quicker now. It's I think 3 weeks and you're playing, or if not 3.5. Players typically now have their own trainers, or if they're using our guys, they're in touch a lot more. I think when we left years ago, and maybe even not that long ago, that was it. You're gone, you come back. But now there's communication. Guys are back in town sooner. They're coming back for visits to check in with their trainers here. Nutrition, every team tends to have a nutritionist. That obviously goes hand in hand with conditioning. So I think the resources available are so much better. You look at our gym compared to 5 years ago at Wilmington. I shouldn't say it's Wilmington. That was actually not a bad gym for that facility, but it's upgraded. So everything's upgraded around at the medical room, the people that can work on it. So I think those are the biggest advances they've made, is that the teams are putting more into that for the players to use. The players are buying into it, and they have different coaches. We've talked about Millsy having a skills coach off the ice. You may have a specific guy on ice with Adam Oates, and now you may have a skill guy for off ice as well as our guys. So I think they're just a lot more detailed in their approach.
Everybody passed?
We'll find that out tomorrow. I think this year, honestly, with we've had some injuries, and so we've chopped it up a little bit, with our veteran guys, and we don't want to put a lot of stress. We went through that a little bit last year too. Going to China, we had different groups. We had to start early, so that's 2 years in a row. We've gotten away from it a bit. We're pretty comfortable with our level, just because of the culture that's been created by those older guys, and we've passed that on. So the young guys still are in here. We've probably pushed them harder than maybe the older guys to make sure they get to the standard.
You had a sit down with David Backus last year about his changing role. That was basically for the short term for the rest of the year. Do you have to revisit that again with him?
We had a conversation this summer a little bit about how the year ended. I don't think we wanted to do it 2 days after Game 7. I think we were all a little bit raw for obvious reasons, and so we talked a little bit about my decision. I don't want to get into it all. I think I've told you, I was asked then at the time. I put Carson Kuhlman in, thought I had a little bit more pep to our game and a different element than David, right or wrong. And then we talked a little, so we revisited a little bit of what he could do to stay in the lineup this year and what's ahead. And it's hard to predict what's ahead. We added some new bodies. Lindholm and Richie, they're NHL players, are going to compete. Richie happens to play the same position as Backus. We'll see what kind of advances Kuhlman's made. And so the message to David was essentially that there's competition on that side of the ice, but if he gets back to the level of feel he can get to, then he'll have a spot. How much minutes he gets from there, well, again, that's going to depend on the growth of some players and the chemistry involved. What do we do with Charlie Coyle? Right now we have an intention of leaving him in the middle. If he goes to the right side, then it gets even more gummy. So some of that's going to play itself out here in the next 2 weeks.
Any concern that would become an uncomfortable situation if things don't fall in his?
It's not comfortable now in terms of having to tell a player of his stature that he's not in the lineup. So I guess, more uncomfortable, but we've learned to have a professional relationship about it. I like David as a person. When he's in the lineup, he always brings his intangibles. When I have to tell him he's out, like I said, I never enjoyed that part of it. So, but if that's the road we have to take to put the best team on the ice, then well, that's just what you have to deal with.
Is it a similar job description at the end of last year as far as what can keep him in the lineup, once the year starts?
Yes, I believe he'll have to bring that element of getting inside to help offensively, keeping his pace up, managing pucks, and then being a physical presence. I don't think it's changed for him, nor should it. I think at his age to start to reinvent himself. I think that was talked a bit. He got a little more physical, a little more confrontational. I think this just happened. I'm not sure he went out there saying, "Hey, I'm going to fight everything to stay in the lineup." That, like I said, just sort of morphed into him trying to be a little more assertive in this game. So we're not asking him to do that, but we do want him to be. He's always been a bit of a big brother. He should keep that element in his game.
Do you know at this point who's not going to be ready to hit the ice tomorrow, injury-wise?
John Moore, Kevin Miller will not hit the ice. Brandon Carlo and Charlie McAvoy, obviously if they're not here, will not hit the ice. Nordstrom, I don't believe will skate with the team tomorrow. He'll go before. I believe, is that it? There may be a couple of decisions in the morning on guys, whether we need to put them in day one. Burry's getting back up to speed. I think Grizz was skating on his own the other day. I think those guys will just see how they are tomorrow. We know what they've got, obviously, so we're not that concerned about pushing them if they don't feel they're up to a heavier workload.
Coach, you were just talking about with Joe, the difference in conditioning and how ready guys are. In Charlie and Brandon's case, if they miss significant time, based on how ready these guys tend to be and how much they work out during the summer, is it less of a worry that they're going to be ready?
Well, it would be less than I would think years ago. I just think because of the onus on guys to keep their fitness up. Charlie's been here. I mean, he was here a week ago, so he looks good. He's been skating. Brandon I haven't seen, but I know that Brandon, since the first day I've coached him down in Providence, has always been a well-conditioned guy, so I don't imagine that would change. I'm not concerned about that. I guess when guys miss time, how can they integrate quickly depending on how close you are to the season. So to start speculating now would probably be, I don't know if it's the best use of our time, but I would suspect if they came in, 3 days before the opener, that's when as a coach you get a little nervous because they haven't been in what they could. But
So it's more about timing.
I think it's more about timing for them than conditioning. Yes.
Take two more. You mentioned the contract gave you a little streak, right? Does having a Stanley Cup final in your pocket give you some of that too in the room?
Well, I think it helps everybody to know you got that far. I think the ultimate is obviously have your name in the cup. That's what you play for. So we didn't get that. We're going to start planning for that now. It's our next opportunities this year, so that's what we're focused on.
Bruce,
What does opening night look like if those two guys aren't signed and Miller's out, Moore's out? What have you got for 6D?
Well, obviously the left side's intact. Chara, Krug, and Grizz. It's predominantly right side. So Clifton's the guy that played camp or played. They're healthy. So we'd have to, the sixth guy would be determined in camp. Could be a right stick. Could be Vakanainen played up a little bit last year. Zaboro played up. Goes on. I think they can all go to the right if they have to. If not, it would be Grizzlich, who has played some right. Krug and Chara would stay home. So I don't want to be disrespectful to any other names I didn't mention, but I guess that sixth spot would be open. If two young guys were lights out in camp, then we'd have to play. Think about playing them ahead of camp for in Clifton. But we saw Steve and Connor do a good job for us in the playoffs. So I'd like to think they know their role, especially camp. He was in that role for a long time. Came and did a good job. Connor was more of a call-up guy, so I'd suspect those guys would be hungry and want to be in if Charlie and Brandon graduate.
Butch, when you get everybody in the ice tomorrow,
Last one.
first time, do you address Game 7 last year one time and say this?
No, we talked about it today. It's time to turn the page. It's time to move on, and I hope they feel the same way. I said it. I think you look at our veteran group, right, we've got Stanley Cup champions, they're gold medalists, guys that have been captain of the National Hockey League, future Hall of Famers. I think they're hockey players and they know what's at stake when the puck drops and when we get ready to go tomorrow. I mean, listen, a lot of good things last year, but we didn't reach our ultimate goal. So we're no different than St. Louis or Ottawa. Take both ends of the spectrum. It's a new year. They're ready. Every team's kind of starting from scratch, and we're no different. We feel that we've got a lot of good returning players. We're adding to the mix. Maybe some young guys push, and that's our focus now is to put ourselves in the same position we were in last year.